Hey guys, how's it going? So, Savior Adin just came out, the new specialty change for Adin. All the previous ones were kind of crummy and people didn't really care about it, but then Savior Adin got shown off for beating Chapter 4, the final boss, and completing her little specialty change stuff. And she's a pretty special unit. Let's talk about her. So, first of all, she does get a special artifact. I think it's called like Sword of Seasons or Cycle Seasons or something like that. I haven't actually upgraded or used it. Yeah, Sword of Cycling Seasons. This artifact's kind of cool. I don't really think it's worth using on her unless you're specifically using her to kill something like Apocalypse Ravi or something, but it's a cool artifact that everyone gets for free, which is really awesome, and I think it'll be really helpful for people that don't have maxed out evasion artifacts. Let's talk about this character's skill set. First of all, if you have a evasion artifact, she's at 70% evasion. Amazing. And she gets a nice counter attack when somebody attacks her. Her S3 does a bunch of damage, penetrates defense by 50%, and gives invincibility. And her S1, just a simple attack and puts unable to be buffed. But then you get the runes, right? And the runes make it so this actually gives her attack buff after she uses it, after she uses the counter attack, keep in mind, not before, which is a bit of a shame, but it does do a decent amount of damage even without the attack buff. Her S3 gets reduced cooldown if used on a dark unit and does extra damage to dark units as well, which is pretty nice. Also, every single time she dodges, she gets a 20% CR push. Even if this thing is on cooldown, she still has that happen. Something to really keep in mind though about this is it's actually currently bugged. I mean, we assume that it's a bug. So, if an opponent uses an attack that can't be counted, so let's say Spectre Tenebria S1 or Landy S3 or something like that, it will put this on cooldown, but she won't do an attack. The reason being, I think, because it's working sort of like Rimur's S2 where it always activates, but the problem is since it's coded as a counter attack, it doesn't happen, even though the ability is an attack, because the attack is uncounterable. So it's really messed up, and there's no way that's actually supposed to work like that. I'm assuming they're going to fix this because it seems really odd that it works that way. But anyways, also her S1 has 20% lifesteal, which is kind of nice. So a lot of people were debating running her on lifesteal. I decided to opt for speed set, and I decided to use Shepherd of the Hollow because I like the consistent damage no matter what I'm against. So these are the stats I got. Overall, it's kind of hard to get defenses on her. Her base health and defense are really bad, but her base damage and crit chance is pretty nice. I think a build like this actually works pretty well. It may look like you have almost no survivability, but she has 70% evasion, and what I noticed is nobody ever wants to attack her. I don't think lifesteal is super worth it on her, because no one really risks attacking Adin pretty much almost ever. Against Remnant Violet, you might see somebody use something like a Rimuru S3 or like an Aravi S3, or just like try and poke him down, do a little bit of damage, see if they can get a lucky hit or something. People don't want to risk that against Adin, because it's sort of like, it's as though you have a full bar of Remnant Violet's passive already, right? People don't want to be counterattacked, so they're just never ever going to try and hit Adin, basically, because they know they're going to get punished. And I also found in some matches, it forced the opponent to have to play completely differently. Let's say they have a character like Ran. Ran doesn't want S3. It pushes her up by 20%, and she does a counterattack, stripping buffs and doing a bunch of damage. People don't want to risk that. I would fight against a Ross, and if the Ross S3'd and missed, I would just strip off the defense buff from their team. So it would suck to use, and they didn't want to take the damage either. So I think this forces a lot of people to hold their AoE skills because they just don't even want to risk that hit. And I think that's a pretty huge deal. Also, another thing, her S3 does a huge amount of damage. If you use it on a dark unit, it's enormous, but if you use it not on a dark unit, it still hits really hard and penetrates 50% defense. So if this procs and you get attack buff and then you go into the S3, you can just completely obliterate certain units. Her S3 can pretty much one-shot a Lionheart Sarmia if it's not on Proof of Valor, which is pretty impressive. Like, I think that's a pretty huge deal. I think that she's an incredibly powerful specialty change, and I do think she is actually worth the grind. Is her grind fun? No, it's terrible. It's actually one of the most miserable experiences I've ever participated in Epic 7. I was only on Chapter 4 of Adventure, so it's my fault, right? But it was like 10, 11 hours of just grinding to finish her specialty change. That's terrible. Some of the missions are horrible. It's like, find 10 boots, right? 10 boots have to drop off enemies. That sounds simple, right? Well, it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours to find those 10 boots. Great. You just get unlucky. So some of the stuff is kind of stupid, and it sucks that you have to go through all that. I'm assuming they're going to make it easier later on, but it could be a long time for that. I think that Adin is really good in a lot of kind of teams. I think she works well in standard teams. Overall, I think she works pretty well there. Maybe not as well as Remnant Violet sometimes, but she has less weaknesses than Remnant Violet, right? Because she doesn't care about something like Solitaria. She doesn't care about something like Angel of Light. She doesn't care about these debuffs or strips or things like that. If you get unlucky and you get buff stripped on Violet, you could just instantly die. But it's not quite the same with her. So I think she works there. I think in aggressive teams she can work pretty well because she has a good amount of survivability with her evasion. She gives the team invulnerability and she hits really hard. So I think an aggro team can utilize her. And I think a cleave team can utilize her because you could build her full damage, full speed, and you could just have this completely nuke something and then give your team invulnerability so you could have her be the last unit that goes in your combo. And their team's in shambles. Your team is completely invulnerable. Apocalypse Ravi can't revive anybody, etc., right? I think that's a pretty huge deal. I think she can be utilized in so many different teams because she does so much damage and has so much survivability just built into her skill set. And also, people are just scared of even trying to attack her because of her passive. I think she's really powerful. I'm not sure if pen set is 100% required. It doesn't do too much for her S3, but her S1 actually hits really hard, so I think it's really worthwhile to have pen set just for ankle cut at the very least. And it does still help for S3, of course, right? But I think Adin is a character that everyone should probably go for. I think she pairs amazingly well with a character like Unbound Knight Arrowell. What I was doing the entire night pretty much is I was just spam picking Unbound Knight Arrowell with Destina because they're kind of a pretty secure comp to have against most things. And then I would just pick Adin third. I didn't even wait for them to pick a dark unit or anything really because I think she worked really well in almost all the teams. Even if the opponent's team had something like a Spectre Tenebra protection comp, the Spectre Tenebra wasn't really able to kill Adin, and Adin did so much damage I was able to eventually power through. I wouldn't really use Savior Adin as the solo DPS unless the opponent's team is very susceptible to it and they only have stuff like, let's say, Alencia and Belian and, you know, those kinds of things. Kind of like Remnant Violet, right? You don't really want to run them as a solo DPS unless the opponent's team is kind of vulnerable to it. But I think she's a really safe and secure earlier kind of DPS pick, which I think is very valuable. And the fact that she's a 3-star free unit that everybody gets, you don't even have to spend resources moloing her or anything. You get all the imprints for free. All you have to do is awaken her. Those are the only resources you have to use. Kind of a huge deal. I think this unit should be added to basically every single person's team. I think people are going to have a lot of fun using her. I think they can draft her in all sorts of comps, so everyone has a reason to have this unit on their side. I also don't think she requires really crazy gear to work. She uses some kind of weird stuff, like for instance this neck. It's a pretty solid neck, but the flat defense makes it insane for her because she has such bad defense and health that this actually becomes like an 81 gear score neck all of a sudden, even though it doesn't really look that amazing, right? And I didn't really have to take gear off of characters that I actually use, which was really nice. She was able to use a lot of other stuff and still work super well. She's actually one of my highest gear score units on my entire account, and I only had to take a couple pieces of gear off of units that I never use. So she actually works well with all sorts of types of gear, I think, and she has really good base damage stats because of her specialty change. The only hard part is getting a little bit of defenses, which I think is worthwhile if you want to utilize her in a bunch of different types of styles of gameplay, especially standard, right? But if you're playing only cleave, you could probably focus just on damage, and I could make like a 4,000 something attack, 300 crit damage, Adin on pen set if I was gonna try that to like one-shot an Apocalypse Ravi maybe or something. But other than that, yeah, that kind of is it for the review on her, I would say. I recommend everybody get her. The grind is terrible, but hey, I think it's really worth it. And you gotta do it at some point, right? And she joins the group of good specialty change units that we've kind of had recently. Characters like Unbound Knight Arrowell are amazing with her and just in general. And now we got Savior Adin. We have other characters like Adventurer Ross and stuff. So I think Smallgate's starting to make a good repertoire of specialty change or free units for players to utilize, which I think is a really good thing for the game. Anyways, thanks a bunch for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like or subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys next time.
I'll protect you.
Okay, so if Ross has 3s, she's going to activate, which activates her, which would be kind of bad, I guess.
No destiny can stop me.
Please hit Adin. I can't believe I'm wishing for that. Oh! He hit Adin. actually a good thing. Okay. Man, what are we gonna do? Do I just like S3 Rylet and see what happens? Nah. Actually did a good amount of damage to her. For having defense buff and Aureus, that's like... I know it seems crummy, but it's surprisingly decent. That basically didn't do anything, which is really good for me. I think I'm gonna actually push her. Might seem kind of weird, but I think I want to give her the shield from her. Maybe that was the wrong play. He's throwing everything on them. You just gonna straight up S3 them? Is he gonna S1 somebody? I'm very scared of this Remnant Violet, especially with Ross. He's just gonna start spam soul burning. That does a lot of damage. Oh, nice duel. She does way more damage than my Vivian's doing. I'm actually gonna hold it. It might seem a little bit silly, but I think that might be the play. Nice little cheeky duel right there. Because I'm gonna S3 on Destina, I think, when my turn comes around. Yeah, he's spamming all that stuff on them. Yeah. Once we take her out, we have a little more freedom, I think. Nice, didn't push back or anything. Yeah, 3% dual attack earlier, it's fine. So if we get the turn first, then we're completely safe. If we don't... Ooh. He's gonna S3 on her. That's kind of a problem. If we were a little bit faster, and we got the turn, we would be able to S3 and we'd be totally safe. This unit has single-handedly made us unable to do anything, pretty much. It's been a huge problem, because if I give his team skill null, I just can't do anything. So I guess I messed up by even using her S3, probably. Should have saved it.
Alright, let's do this.
He doesn't have souls, but he's probably going to S2 anyways, I would expect. As soon as that bar gets full, I'm in trouble. Yeah. Holy crap. Okay. I think this is the play. And I don't really like it that much, but I don't see what else I could possibly do. I think I have to S3 on him. If we hit, he dies. If we miss, then that's to be expected. Okay, and then Remnant Violet's gonna activate. Wait, we hit him. Okay, that's terrible. That's actually... Oh my god. We hit him. Okay, he hit our invulnerable person. Awesome. Awesome. 1 and 3. Okay, it's fine. Yeah. On a miss, we did half his health bar. The problem is he just healed everything back. He doesn't have S2 anymore. Thank god. Really? Is that really necessary? That also gave him a stack. I don't think we can win now. Three-turn wait, huh? Whoa, that's a lot of damage. Please hit. Nice. Awesome. Okay, so Adin has got 2 turns on that. If she's able to lap around to it, I think we win. So we're just kind of stalling. Ooh, he has his Soulburn S3 though. That's pretty bad for me. He cycles so quickly with that. How are we gonna deal with Edward? I don't like this, but we didn't debuff and he resisted. Also, holy crap, she did 10,000 to him. What was that? Oh my god, her damage is insane on her S1. She hits so hard. Maybe she is good on Decrescent. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Please hit? Wow. She actually did a lot of work, though, in that match. The problem is Adin's gonna activate her. Unless she gets hit by everything, which I wouldn't even be surprised about. Interesting. Hello? Damn, she dodged, so she got pushed up. That actually really sucks. That's really bad, actually. Well. I think it's fine. I'm gonna do this because I want to make sure she actually hits, and I also want to heal her a little bit because I don't want her just dying to A Robbie right away. I'm gonna remove the shield here and the speed buff. A Robbie's not gonna be able to do any damage right here. Realistically, the only thing that matters is I deal with this thing immediately. Oh, well, I think it's dead. Because I get 20% extra damage from those debuffs. I don't even have to use Adin's S3 on them. I can save it for A Ravi, I guess. Yeah. Well, I feel pretty safe. I still have Destina S3. Oh, jeez. That blind kind of ruins it, you know? Yeah, it just doesn't feel worthwhile to do anything because the blind, you know? I'm gonna hold my S3 one turn, I think. I think it's okay for one turn. Okay, maybe it wasn't okay. Maybe that was actually a bad play. Okay, if she doesn't land good debuffs here, I think I win. Let's see. He actually hit Adin there. Okay, I think it's alright. Let's see. Oh, okay, come on. Kill this thing. I get invulnerable for the rest of the team too, right? Oh my god. No attack buff. Not bad.
Don't be afraid. No need to flatter me.
Not bad at all.
Thanks to everyone's hard work.
Nice, I actually have 3 light units. Feels good. There's no reason to use S2 here. This is the only play that makes sense. And I don't think there's any point in using S3. I think I just S1. And I think I'm going to S1 him. Let's see the damage. 7,500. Oh boy. You might even just want to heal Ross. So I guess Ross is probably going to S3. But if he S3s, then she counters and she might counter. He actually can't really S3 reliably. I feel like he's in a lot of trouble here.
Another trial to overcome.
Honestly, I may as well just do this. This unit is kind of useless. I realize that he can give defense buff after, but if he does that and I do a bunch of counters, he's screwed.
Is that all you've got?
Adin won't be able to counter? Well, Adin can counter Ross's S3, but I didn't realize she was on Warhorn. That's why I didn't care about Belian here. Actually pretty interesting. Please S3 me. I want to see it. Please do it. Let me double counter you. Yeah, he's put into such a crummy position, I think. I'm just going to hold on to this. No point in wasting it. And I also don't even want to push his team back. I'm just going to S1. Oh, nice. We got the second hit. That's why it lagged so hard, I guess. I can just slowly work him down, I think. I'm about to start losing the shield. So I'm pretty sure Adin S3 just kills, which is kind of crazy to think about. Honestly, I'm just going to use it on him. See the damage. 14,000. Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, oh my god. Crazy dual attack. That's kind of unlucky, but honestly, I don't think it mattered at this point. I don't think it mattered at all. His LQC can't do anything, even if she was alive. Not to mention that Belian would have just disabled it after. I'm just gonna soul burn it, it's fine. And sure, they're gonna be able to revive a unit, right? But I don't think it really matters. Wait, that missing just used her passive. That's so lame. That's actually so insanely lame. I can't believe that's how that works. That makes no sense, man. That means they can actually do whatever they want now, too. That's really crappy that hit. That was actually the best case scenario for them. Although, they still don't want to get countered by Belian. Is it a bug? It seems to be a bug. If they actually fix that, the character's going to be so insane. Nice, no defense break. Guardian Ice Crystals, huh? I think I'm just gonna do this, because I can Soul Burn Belian, or S3 with Belian. I like how Adin just doesn't even care against Spectre Tenebria. She's just chilling. Like, it just doesn't even matter to her. She's so safe. Nobody wants to attack her a single time. This guy couldn't even use Ross's S3 because of them. Is this gonna kill Ross too? Nah, not quite. Like, look, she's at full health for basically the entire match. That's why I don't think lifesteal is really that big of a deal, because no one actually wants to ever attack her. Not even a single time. Wow, that really hurt. It's fine, though. LQC didn't get to do anything in this match, even. It was pretty much just over from the start. Adin's like a really safe Remnant Violet. Just a bit safer of a version, you know? Look at Adin's damage right here. Frenzy 4. Okay. It's just gone. Oh my god. She actually does so much damage with her S1 to tanky units.
Another trial to overcome.
Really good unit. Really, really good unit, I think.
I'm still searching for the path.
It was worth the 50-hour grind.